Hey there, I'm Matt Moran, and if I have to pick one thing that I'm really genuinely thankful for this year, it is the fact that after 15 years of not wanting to go to church, not having a desire to go to church, I've actually found a church that I look forward to going to, if even just online. Yeah, really thankful for that.
Welcome to our online service. My name is Samantha Pyle, and I hope today's experience moves you and guides you in your week ahead.
I wanted to start with this song. I think this is my favorite spiritual song that's come across my path the past couple of years. It's a very different way of looking at the world. It's a different way of looking at Christianity. And that is no wall between secular and sacred. I always kind of had a problem with that as a musician, honestly, and because there's some secular songs that really spoke to me spiritually. And I love that this song addresses that everything is sacred. Oh, teach me that it all belongs, that everything is sacred. I eat the bread and drink the wine, but help me love my neighbor and show me how to hold this life, 'cause I don't want to waste it. I don't want to waste it. Oh, heaven is upside down. Oh, it can be here and now. Oh, seeing it all around. Everything is sacred. The ordinary shines and glows, filled with your intention. You don't see the lines we draw between secular and sacred. Oh, show me how to hold this life, 'cause I don't want I don't want to waste it. Oh, heaven is upside down. Oh, it can be here and now. Oh, I'm seeing it all around. Everything is sacred. A gift and the giver is good. Life is a gift and the giver is good. Life is a gift and the giver is good. Life is a gift and the giver is good. Life is a gift and the giver is good. Life is a gift and the giver is good. Life is a gift and the giver is good. Life is a gift and the giver is good. Oh,
Well, happy Thanksgiving, SPERO Day. And I guess whenever we have Thanksgiving, right, it's just about to usher in the Advent season and then the New Year. But this Thanksgiving, this holiday, it's different, isn't it, with this whole pandemic thing. I mean, what a year 2020 has been, right? I mean, in the summer, there were all kinds of protests, protesting against systemic racism and all of that. We've just come through a very divisive presidential election. And then for those of us who are Nashvillians, we sort of started our year in February with a tornado that ravaged parts of this city pretty heavily. And then just a week or two after, bam, the pandemic. This is a year where we're weary, isn't it? And a lot of us are ready to be done with it. I remember back in January, almost a year ago, I was talking to a young guy who was pretty hopeful about 2020. And he turned to me, he goes, "David, 2019 was the worst year, and I am so glad to say goodbye to it." And then literally, bam, weeks later, everything changed. And that guy even lost his job. And so it's been a weary time for some of us. And what's interesting, though, about this season, you know, Thanksgiving and then going into the advent of Christmas, this season for us comes regardless of what kind of life we are having, right? It comes every year when we have great years, and it comes every year when we're having tough years. It comes in wartime. It comes in economic downturn. It comes when babies are born and weddings happen. It comes during pandemics, no matter what. And it just sort of hits us in the reality of our lives. And I think when dire things, weary things like this come, a lot of times we think it gives us something. And when I reflect on my own life, I think it sort of unearths things that are already there, right? So if you're experiencing anxiety or some sort of fear or stress, it's there no matter what. But when you have these dire times, it really unearths something. And whenever that happens, I think we're at a real crossroad. We're a crossroad of whether we'll experience more hope, but it depends on some things, or we'll even experience a little more hurt. And that may be because certain things aren't realized or experienced. So I want to talk to you just for a few moments about this importance of gratitude and thanksgiving. And you know, it's really kind of amazing, at least for those of us who grew up in the United States, that we have an actual holiday called Thanksgiving. We actually have this period of the year where we're supposed to get in touch with gratitude and thanksgiving. Now, this certainly can be a practice, but it's much more than that. It's an experience. And I want to share something with you from the Hebrew scriptures, because when dire times come, this is the chance for gratitude to bloom. And so this is the part of the Old Testament where the Hebrews have been enslaved for 400 years, and Moses has led them out of Egypt, and he's leading them to the land which is called the land of milk and honey. They're not quite there yet, but the scriptures begin to have them remember and reflect on something. So let me read this to you from Deuteronomy 8 and kind of make some points from that. Read along. Remember that the Lord your God led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble you, to stretch you, and to make evident your heart of trust. This is sort of what dire things do to us, don't they? They tend to humble us. We're awakened and aware. They tend to stretch us, right? That's what they do. And they sort of do make evident in our heart of our spiritual location. Are we in a trusting place? Are we in a very anxious place? By this, and he's talking about everything they've experienced, by this you experience that people can't live on bread alone, but more on the loving words of God. This is what maybe happened to a lot of you during this pandemic time, or whenever you're going through something. We tend to live off of things that we can touch and sort of feed upon: our jobs, our homes, our esteem, our ambitions, our dreams. We feed upon these things. But when you run into a thicker time or a deeper time that hurts, you start to go, wow, I need something beyond that to feed me, to fill me. And this is what this is saying. And then in verse 7 it says, the Lord is bringing you into a good land. Verse 9, a land where you will live without, and there's that word, where you will live without scarcity. Now 2020 has been a year filled with scarcity. Now what is scarcity? Scarcity is this state of mind, this state of life, this condition where we're just like, oh man, I don't think there's enough for me in this world. I don't think I have enough. I think I need more. And I think I'm going to end up on the short end of the stick on this one. And so this has been a whole year of uncertainty where we have very much felt scarcity. And I'll tell you what, I know when I am in a scarcity mode, and here's the deal, you could even have your belief system. You go, I believe in God, I have my historic faith. But when you are mindfully and heartfully and really your viewpoint in a very scarcity mode, I know for me, I don't have enough of anything. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough resources. I don't have enough sleep. I don't even have enough God. So this is what happens when we are in a scarcity mode. But when you really look at the arc of our Christian heritage, our Christian tradition, our Christian spirituality, Jesus, what Christ really did in part was to move us away and move us beyond a scarcity point of view. It was to move us into a place where our perspective is there's enough, there is abundance. And when you are at that viewpoint, so much is different. Now, there is an old Christian word for abundance, for this awareness of abundance. And really the word is grace. When you are suddenly aware that there is enough and that you have abundance around you, and it's not even like you deserve it, but when you're taking that in, that's grace. And that's not something you believe only. That's not something you just hold. It's something you actually experience when you go, you know what? My view is there's enough. And there's another word for it. And I think it's what the scriptures are trying to speak, trying to tell us in this Deuteronomy chapter 8. When the scriptures say, remember that the Lord led you, that the Lord was with you in this very scarce time, it's having them remember sufficiency. So grace really is experienced when we have a viewpoint of sufficiency. You're just going, there's enough. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that Thanksgiving does, one of the things that could maybe the holidays inspire us is to shift our viewpoint. When I can just stop, see, when I'm caught up in the scarce mess, I'm just going and moving, but when I just stop and I breathe and I just begin to have my mind, my heart, my soul attuned to my relational trust with God, attune to my present self, and just move my mind and heart and shift it to a sense of sufficiency. There is enough. There's enough time. I have enough resources. I have enough talent. There is enough. I'm sufficient. When you move into that mode, it's then experiential. You experience sufficiency. You experience abundance. You experience grace. And then that's where gratitude flows out of. Of course, we can practice gratitude when we're uncertain, of course, and that's helpful. Of course, we can make moves and actions of gratitude, and yes, that helps. But when you can begin to attune your spiritual sense to your relational trust with God, when you can stop and shift your mind and your heart to a sense of accepted sufficiency, there is enough. You experience grace. And then gratitude and thanksgiving just flows out of that. And when you are flowing out of gratitude, it's truly flowing because your viewpoint is there, it's just sufficient, there's enough. Then all kinds of things flow out of you. Besides just gratitude and thanksgiving, you can really move towards true generosity. Your time flows out of you. You able to give your resources and give your service, to give your present self to others in the world around you. When you are flowing in that sufficiency and experiencing that grace and that shift happens, generosity just flows out of you. Again, whether it's your efforts, whether it's your resources, whether it's your openness of your mind and your heart. So this is what I really hope for you at the start of Thanksgiving. Yes, it's been a very, very scarce year, no doubt. Yes, we're still uncertain about 2021. And that's the other thing, that when you are experiencing this sufficiency and this enoughness, it's not like you are holding anymore. It's not like you suddenly have something more material, more time, more resources. You're not holding anything. It's an inward thing. It's a spiritual thing. It's just flowing from you. There's an inward change and shift. There's an inward trust, a reliant trust on God and through yourself. And so that's my hope for you as this year ends, as things still could pose some scarcity, that you'll just stop, attune relationally to God, get very present with yourself, breathe, and just shift your mind and your heart to a sense of trusting God that it's sufficient. There is enough. And when you move and practice in that, oh man, grace and thankfulness and gratitude and generosity is just free to flow. Well, maybe before we go today, we can just do a quick time of attunement and a time of awakening and a time of action. We could begin to practice it right now. So maybe wherever you are, looking at your television, your computer screen, whether you're alone, whether you're with others, sitting in the front seat of your car, wherever you are, that you just still yourself right now and just slow your breath. Something physical happens when we stop and get still. We begin to calm our fears, our anxiety. So just breathe slow And just begin to attune your mind and your heart and your soul to the relational aspect of your spirituality, that you would attune yourself to God, to Christ, through love, through trust. Now begin to awaken sufficiency, enoughness. There is enough. And be accepting of that. This is trust in action. God, there is enough. I am enough. You are enough. And then move to some sort of action today or this week. Begin to practice this. Begin to become more aware that when you start to get scarce and anxious, you'll move towards the action of a mind shift, of a heart shift, of a faith trust shift. There is enough. And then maybe what is flowing through you is some sort of action of generosity. Whether it's your time, whether it's your resources or finances, whether it's helping somebody through your efforts, whether it's giving your talent, whether it's trying something new. Maybe before the end of this week, through spiritual attunement and awakening, then comes action. Jesus, I think one of the things you showed and modeled is that in a world of scarcity, and you were born in a world of scarcity, that when we attune our hearts to you, stay very present with ourselves, and focus our mind and heart on trust in you, trust in ourselves, and this acceptance that there is enough. It is sufficient. There's enough time, there's enough resources, that we begin to experience that. And when we do, may we offer thanks. God, thank you that you've gotten us almost through this crazy year. And we are looking to you now, and we are looking to you in the upcoming year. But you are enough. We are enough. It is enough. And so we give thanks with this abundant sufficiency. And thank God it's nothing we hold, God, that this is something inward. We don't have to have more to experience this. It comes from when our hearts attune to you, attune to ourselves, and attune to there is enough. Because you are enough, we are enough, and it is enough. In Jesus' name, amen.
I want to send you out as a benediction, a good word, a benediction, with this thought to go now. And yes, think about this, but also as we go into this week of Thanksgiving, back into the world, to go live out the love. Let's sing this. Go now and live out the love. Let your light shine into the darkness. Go now into the world. Be hope for the hopeless. Show grace and compassion. Be the salt of the earth. Go now, live out the love. Let your light shine into the darkness.
Let your light shine into the darkness. Go down into the world. Live out the love. And live out the love. And live out the love. And live out the love.
I'm just really thankful to be part of a church, a Christian church, that is less rigid, that is a more inclusive theology than what's been popular most of my adult life.
I am thankful that SPERO DEI is a community. City group and other things and the people make this the church.
Hi, I'm Samantha Pyle, and this Thanksgiving and all, I think I'm most thankful for all things SPERO DEI, but most importantly that we can all be here and share different views and different beliefs and still know that it all centers on one belief, that God is love, and that's just how we work through our daily lives together, and that's loved and respected here at SPERO DEI.
Hi, I'm Meg Fortney. I really enjoy coming to church at SPERO DEI and all the friends I've made. Connections are so important to me, and lately it's just been wonderful getting to know my fellow churchgoers.
My name is Adrienne Heeg, and when I think back on 2020, I'm so glad that my husband and I found SPERO DEI. We're so grateful for this sense of community and belonging that we have found here.
Hey SPERO DEI, happy Thanksgiving. We are so grateful that you opened your doors to us, that you welcomed us in, and you have loved us fully.
And we can be our authentic selves.
Hi, I'm Wendy. I am thankful for the love and community at SPERO DEI and that everybody is welcome no matter what.
At SPERO DEI, I'm grateful that I can have a community where I experience safe relationships.
Hey SPERO DEI, we're the Morgan family, and we're so grateful to be a part of a church that speaks to our mind and to our hearts. Happy Thanksgiving!
I'm so grateful for all of you. I'm just so grateful to be part of this church, which is open and loving, stays curious and caring. I'm also grateful to be part of a staff team here at SPERO DEI that also really cares about you. So I hope this Thanksgiving you feel rested, you feel cared for. We're just so grateful for you.
May you have a great rest of the Thanksgiving weekend. And as you know, we are fully online now, and we start a wonderful series leading up to Christmas, and it's called Christmas in a Weary World. So we're going to talk about how we can have hope in this weary season. And we just want to give you encouragement in that. And one of the things we're doing with that is using Kathy Escobar's book, A Weary World, and talking about a weary Christmas. And we're even hopeful that Kathy by Zoom and by technology will join us. So that starts next week. All right? Well, have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you very soon.
Well, that's our service for this morning. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. My name is Travis Spall, and I'm the Director of Operations here at SPERO DEI. And I want to remind you that on December 4th, Friday at 7 p.m., we're going to have our first ever tree lighting. So we ask that you grab beer, wine, or any beverage and join us in the backyard as we light up our tree and enjoy live music. Now, it is during a pandemic, so we are going to still remain socially distanced and masks are required. But we think this is a great way to kick off the Christmas season together for our first Christmas in the new building. Also, our fifth value here at SPERO DEI is to heal the world. And so we think one of the ways that we can do that is by partnering with our school next door, Park Avenue Elementary. And so this Christmas season, we're going to partner with them by providing coats and gifts to some of their students in need. So we ask that you join in with us. Go online, you can sign up to give a coat or a gift, or even both. And we ask that you wrap those, label them, and drop them off at the SPERO DEI offices by December 13th. And you know, another thing here at SPERO Day is the pandemic it's been tough. It's been tough for all of us. But we're a little bit behind, and so, you know, we ask that if this church is meaningful to you, if this is the place you call home, we ask you to consider two things this year. We ask you to consider a one-time year-end gift, and then we also ask you to consider becoming one of our recurring givers in the new year. And this will help us balance our budget. It'll help us plan for 2021. And we could really use you. Well, we thank you for joining us again. And as a reminder, we are going to be only online for the next foreseeable future. So join us here next week at SPERO Day Online, and have a wonderful week.